This is how Eugene Peterson paraphrases our text for today. This is Matthew chapter 5, verse 3 in the Message paraphrase. You're blessed when you're at the end of your rope. With less of you, there is more of God in His rule. You're blessed when you're at the end of your rope. With less of you, there's more room for God. When you're no longer in the winner's circle and the applause of everyone is no longer there, you're blessed because you can finally hear the voice of God. When the comforts of this world are stripped away from you, you're blessed because you're no longer calloused to the compassion of your Creator. When the pleasures of this world are no longer persistent, you're blessed because then you can become aware of the presence of God. How many of us have experienced the greatest blessings in our life when you have lost what you seemed to think was most important? Because then you realize that God is there with you. Because then you realize that God is there all along. And that word lucky, it bothers me. It kind of grates on me. Because lucky doesn't seem like the right word. And maybe the reason it grates on me is because it reveals just how aligned I am to this world. Right? How many of us, our definition of blessing would make perfect sense to someone who has no connection to the story of Jesus? How many of us define blessing exactly like everyone outside of the story of Jesus? And that happens because we're so aligned to the kingdom of this world. And maybe the greatest intention God has for you is not simply to be happy, to be healthy, or to be wealthy. And maybe that's what's so grating about the Beatitudes. Because it strips away the one thing that maybe we love the most, and that is our perceived independence. And maybe the reason that there is such a correlation between poverty and piety in Scripture is because the poor realize something that most of us pretend like isn't true about us. Because they realize that their only hope of the future is God.